Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. Today we're back at my buddy Frankie's from P2 Fabrication up at his house in Simi Valley. We're shooting with Duke, which I've been looking forward to this one. I've heard a lot about you. Like, Frankie's been obviously hardcore.
Don't listen to Frankie, that's the bad stuff.
But when he talks highly about somebody else, I listen a little bit, He's gotten pretty heavy into autocross the last couple of years, and sounds like he's gone from nobody knows who he is to he's doing pretty well out there, starting to be competitive.
Absolutely.
But then he talks about a couple of these guys out there that he's like, dude, you wouldn't believe what these guys can do in a car. And I know he talks a lot about Scott Frazier.
Yep.
He talks a lot about you. So you've been racing for a bunch of years, yeah?
A few, 30 years.
Have you been doing primarily autocross, or is it road course, autocross, kind of all of it?
The short version is I started out autocrossing, got my feet a little bit wet in some track day stuff. I moved up to Oregon. I actually got into circle track racing, asphalt circle track racing. Built a couple different cars. I was still trying to autocross a little bit, and then it just got to the point where it was really tough to afford both of them. And be competitive.
Yeah. So then you focused in on the autocrossing.
Yes.
And then some of the stuff you guys do, like obviously Optima, also includes road course, the break stop challenge, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I gotta guess this is what you've done here is you've built this car specifically to go win.
Yeah, I did. I had a C4 Corvette before it. Spent tons and time of money, everything on it. Car kept breaking. I saw what these C5s were capable of.
Right.
I mean, guys out running 9s and 10s on the drag strip with them. And I thought, man, that's me. Drag race guys, they're beating on them hard. Yeah. So I bought this car bone stock.
What year is it?
It's a 2002.
2002, and it is a Z06, right?
Yes, Z06.
So you got a great car. As it is, it's a great car.
Yeah, from the get-go, they are. The car was bone stock, trailered it back to the shop. I took one pass down in front of my shop, put it up on jack stands, and started going to town on it. I put a twin disc Quartermaster 7 1/4 clutch in it, headers, exhaust, and I did a cold air intake. I laid the radiator forward on it for cooling purposes and for a little bit of downforce. Put the wing on it, built the front splitter on it, and I left it like that for a while until I could afford to do motor stuff. And then the guy wants to go faster sooner than later, started forking out money.
Sounds about right.
Now it's got a D-stroked Mast Motorsports LS7 in it.
Oh, bitchin'.
It's an 8,500 RPM motor.
Wow.
It rips.
What does it make power-wise?
I don't know that exactly to the rear wheels because I had it on the dyno and one of my CVs expanded and it grabbed a brake line and ripped a bunch of stuff and made a big mess. The car went over 700 to the flywheel. So I'm assuming 650 high, somewhere in there.
Right. Is it a pain to pull off the hood and look at the engine?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Be curious to see it. Obviously a real carbon fiber head.
Yeah.
That weighs all of like 4 ounces.
Well, yeah, and then I skinned the whole back side of it because it originally was on hinges. But I'm a weight freak.
You wanted the weight out of it.
Yeah.
What do you have this thing weighing by chance? Do you know?
So I'm right at about 2880 full of fuel without me in it.
You've really put this thing on a diet, man. Wow, dude.
So I've yarded all of the stereo and speaker stuff out of it. I do drive it on the street a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not anything like every weekend kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I personally would rather listen to the engine than the stereo.
Dude, hearing you start this car up is like, who cares if it has audio? I don't care. It's funny, I love obviously the show cars, or even if it's not a show car, something you're actually gonna drive, but you really want that perfect $500,000 fit and finish, paint and body, a crazy interior.
Right.
And then there's stuff like this where it's like, I don't care if it looks perfect. This is built to go beat the shit out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're not a stock H pattern. I watched your in-car stuff.
No, I had the H pattern shifter in it and the factory C5 diff. I've been through legit probably 12 rear differentials in the car.
God, wow.
Just hoping and praying that one day they were gonna hold together and not come apart. A lot of guys are putting C6 differentials, but they're still breaking those.
So are you still running the C5?
No, so that's the super sweet thing about this. The 6XD, they have incorporated it so it has a Winters quick change rear differential to it that bolts to the back side of it. We've pulled in from a road course and in a matter of 10 minutes, I've got a gear change.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's impressive. And for what you guys are doing, autocrossing, you're gonna want different gearing than road coursing.
And the gearing in it before I would get out on a road course and I might use 4th gear. Now, the exact same road course, I'm using 6th gear. So I'm using all my gears. Yeah, I got like a 600 to 700 RPM drop in between each gear instead of shifting from 2nd to 3rd and the thing just lay down on itself.
Yeah. Nothing like a sequential.
Yeah, it's
listening to those shifts is so, oh God, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
How about suspension? What's
So it's got billet drop spindles on it, Heim jointed bearing, suspension, sway bars. I've changed location pickup points just a wee tad bit on a couple things. It's got double adjustable coilovers on it. We just came from LS Fest last weekend.
Right.
The only thing we did is put fuel in the car. We never jacked it up, never put a tweak, one click on a shock.
You've got
nothing.
that dialed.
I mean,
how long have you had the car done and out tracking?
I mean, it's been the way it sits right now since about last September, October, and we really haven't done a whole bunch to it.
I gotta be honest, it looks like what it is. It looks like a car that goes out and gets just completely and totally pounded on.
Yep.
You know?
And I think I did my first event in 2014 or 15 for Optima. I thought, man, this is really cool. I was kind of hooked on it, you know? But it was all for the design and engineering points.
Right.
And I struggled in that really, really bad. Lo and behold, Optima came out with an outlaw class. And the outlaw class does not do design and engineering, but they do everything else. I just want to show up and race. That's it.
You don't want to compete on the having to have audio in the car,
correct,
AC and stuff like that. Like you want to, So it's a real no rule class kind of.
Yeah.
Almost.
2,600 pounds. They limit you on the wing size a little bit. Other than that,
obviously not much.
Well, yeah.
It's not a small wing.
No. It's not one of those things you see on those little Honda racer cars running around, you know.
My favorite is still, you see the guy roll by in his bone stock, like Camry. And he's got a big wing on the back. The front splitter, you built this?
Yeah, so that splitter is actually out of Alumalite. And Alumalite is the sign companies use them to make signboards out of. It's pretty thin. It's got corrugated plastic in between the two. I laid it up underneath there, cut it out, took it to a local place, had them rhino line it to give a little bit of strength to it. But I mean, it's strong enough that I can stand on.
Holy shit.
So
I knew you were about to do that. I was like, no, don't stand on the splitter. I love it, dude. Oh, it's a dry sump car, huh?
Yes, yeah. It's a 5-stage daily dry sump. So it has the 5th stage is an air separator.
You briefly mentioned headers, exhaust, but like give me a little more. Is it all like custom made stuff?
So everything beyond the headers is, I got a good buddy of mine that runs a fab shop back home. He built an all titanium exhaust for me.
Nice.
Back. Again, being the weight freak that I am, we didn't go all the way exit out the car, so it's dumped just past the driver and passenger seats underneath.
Got it.
So it doesn't have
in
stuff.
front of the diff.
Yes, exactly.
And then the headers are what comes with the Mast engine?
The headers were headers that I bought for the original motor that came in it.
Got it.
I bought them big. I'm one of those guys that doesn't like to pay for things twice. So,
with you. And then in here, it just looks like it's pure business.
Yeah, they're race seats.
Funny though, you still have the stock dash.
Yep.
Even the stock gauges?
Yes.
Wow, interesting, dude. And the door panels and stuff. Like, I mean, I see the C5 stuff in here. So you really just replaced seats, obviously shifter, wheel.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's in your center here? I can't quite.
I've got a switch panel there, the furthest one on the left. It operates the power for the transmission. Okay.
So you don't turn that on, this car's not shifting.
It won't even start. The computer for that is piggyback oriented into the factory ECU for ignition coils. So I can no lift shift. I hold the thing to the floor, I pull back on the shifter. Right before it goes into gear, it's got a string gauge and it sees that, so it cuts the ignition. And then as soon as it gets past that, I mean, it cuts it for, I don't even know.
You get that blip of a second, but you also hear it when a car goes by that's shifting, you'll hear that on off.
If it's wide open, I am wide open shifting this thing at 83, 8400 RPMs, it will pop out the exhaust. It's wicked, like some of the Trans Am cars out there.
Yeah, totally. Your son was showing me an in-car video, you up racing at Thunder Hill.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his explanation was, but something with your computer. So you had to, in the middle of driving, have to turn it off and back on?
So it also has a blip for the throttle for downshifting, so you don't have to clutch.
Sure.
Rev match thing.
Sure.
We've been fighting some issues electronic wise where the no lift shift will quit working and the blip shift will quit working for downshift. And the only way I can basically, we'll call it reboot it, is by flipping power off and flipping it right back on.
So when you do that, you said the car doesn't run if it's not on. So when you go down, does it kill ignition and then come back on?
Yeah, it's just like turning the key off.
But it's not like just turning the key off, because we're gonna show you guys, because he's got really cool, I'm so glad you have the in-car video on it. A turn and you had to, so you go off, now it's like lifting off the gas pedal, back on gas, but you did it like you're out for a Sunday friggin' drive.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I pick my spot. I mean, the first corner I come up to, I know I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna be off throttle. So when I start coming into a corner and I'm gonna lift, I do have to look down out of the windshield to make sure I'm grabbing the right switch. Yeah. And just toggle it off, toggle it back on, and then here we go. Yeah.
Is it random in when you have to do that?
I can almost go out on the street and drive it and not have an issue. Driving over here, I had to flip it twice for it to work. And I think it might have something to do with the way that the car is trying to shift and move. That being said, the motor mounts are solid mounted. The rear end is solid mounted. The suspension is really, really rigid in it.
Yeah.
The other night we were looking at it and found a Heim joint that might have had a little bit of play to it. We've got one being next date in this afternoon. We're gonna swap that out. Dude, fingers crossed.
That may be correct.
Yeah, I mean, because we're going to Laguna Seca this weekend, and
fast track.
Dude, I want to have that thing working spot on.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Yeah. I was just curious. I thought it'd be fun to explain to viewers, you know, that how relaxed you've got to be. Number one, to drive at the paces that you're driving at, but number two, to be able to coming into a turn. Yeah, I got to kill my entire fucking car for a second, then bring it back on and reboot the system so I can get my next gear, and to do it in a relaxed manner, like watching your video. You're not in any panic mode whatsoever, and I think it'll be fun to show the viewers, like, here's what it looks like with a pro level driver.
To somebody that hasn't experienced something like that, you'd be like, dude, get both hands on the wheel. I want out. But to me, it's just like, okay, off on.
I mean, let's be honest, you do anything regularly for 30 years straight.
Oh yeah.
You're probably gonna get at least proficient at it. You might even get really good at it.
Yes.
You know, we didn't talk about wheel and tire setup, what your brakes are.
It's got forge line wheels on it. 12-inch wide in the rear by 18 by 11 in the front. Just about everywhere we go, we got to run 200 treadwear tires. So I'm kind of mismatched on tires. I'm running Yokohamas on the rear, and I run Bridgestones on the front.
And what sizes are you running?
The fronts are 295 3018s, pretty small compared to what everyone else runs, and a 315 3018 on the rear.
Got it.
Which is kind of the average. Most guys are running 315s squared all the way around.
Sure. No, I've seen that a lot. Yeah.
And again, back to the weight thing, my car's fairly light compared to a lot of other cars, so I don't beat up and put a lot of heat into the front tires.
Got it.
So that's another reason why I kind of went with a smaller size diameter tire.
It's another small amount of probably weight savings.
Exactly.
Isn't it? Smaller wheels, smaller tire, less. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what the hell have you done here?
Okay. So kind of like everything else, the weight thing. Okay. I skinned everything. The trunk lid doesn't pop up anymore. It's pinned on.
Got it. Oh God.
It's been taken off.
When you say skin, you're taking layers off of it to thin it.
Yeah, so originally when I built the car, all I was gonna do was autocross it. And the highest speed I might see would be 80 miles an hour, maybe.
And that's on a really big autocross.
Exactly.
I mean, autocrossing is tiny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I go out on the road course, and when you run on the road course, you have to run with your windows down. Well, you can imagine how much air comes in the windows. There's no partition back here, so it all comes back to the trunk. This thing would raise up this high.
So it's creating a ton of lift, isn't it?
And just pound itself. So originally we duct taped it to hold it down. And you could still see it bow up in the middle, but at least it wouldn't pop. And I thought, you know what? I need to get that air out of there somehow. So I vented it from inside.
Can we see it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm dying to see this, man.
Yeah. Right here, 3 on each side.
A lot of them. Wow.
I've got some other stuff being made that I'm gonna try to vent out some more.
Did you notice a dramatic difference when you did this?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't duct tape this anymore. It stays perfectly flat.
And do you know, I didn't even ask you. I see Duke's Auto. Is that what you do for a living? Do you work on vehicles for a living?
So yeah, my shop is more of a general automotive repair.
Got it.
We don't rebuild motors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do everything that I can in my shop. I have some fabrication tools, nothing like Frankie does. I mean, that stuff's just out of this world that he does. I can do the little grunt work. Yeah,
no, I get it, but the radical kind of stuff like they do at P2 and
that stuff's just mind-blowing.
Have we left anything out? Gas tank. We didn't talk about your gas tank.
Okay. So originally these cars, all Corvettes come with 2 fuel tanks. They're called saddle tanks. One on the driver's, one on the passenger. I took the driver's side tank out. So I only run off the passenger side tank now.
Was that another weight thing?
Yes, exactly. It doesn't get the greatest fuel mileage.
I wasn't expecting this was like Prius based
at
all. Yeah.
Okay, just to be sure.
Yeah, I feel, do you have any idea what you get? Like now, I'm not talking about track driving. I'm talking about like the kind of driving we're gonna go do on the street. What do you average?
Okay, 7? Well, I'll tell you what. You remind me when we're in the car, and I'll bring up the instant fuel mileage.
And we'll see what you're
on the
getting.
thing. Yeah, and we'll see because I still got cruise control on the car. Yeah,
that's crazy. Very cool. Yeah. If there's more, we'll talk about it on the drive. Let's go drive.
Okay.
That's such a total race clutch.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's like a toggle switch, on or off. The hardest thing is taking off from a dead stop, obviously. You know, once you're rolling, and especially with the sequential, you know, no clutch, no nothing, just pull her back and go.
And then if you want to make it like a smooth shift, then you can clutch.
Yeah.
Well, that rev match is bitching.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Oh my God, that pop you get. So that's because the ignition shuts off for a blip, right? For the shift to happen.
Yep, and depending on where you're at with the throttle, it's still putting fuel in the cylinder.
Wow, this car sounds so bitchin', dude. I mean, it really sounds like what it is, a friggin' race car.
It's a good thing you got a helmet on when you're racing it.
Because it's screaming all that. Those straight cut gears, that sound is so good. How often do you ever street drive this thing? Not much.
Once a month, maybe. When my kid was in junior high, before he had his driver's license, I'd drive it down, pick him up
here?
Yeah.
What a bitchin' car you built. God, I can only imagine what it's like on the track.
It's awesome. Just awesome.
Wow. Well, so far I've only pissed myself. There's still room for more.
Shift light in.
Oh, got it.
I used to tell Frankie all the time. He says, how do you know when to shift it? I says, well, as soon as the needle passes 7,000 RPMs, I count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 and shift.
Do you have ABS on this car or no?
Yes.
You do?
Yes. That's one of the things I forgot to mention about before when we were talking is Corvette ABS in all of them, C4, 5 on up. The ABS has issues with going into ice mode. So it's just absolutely brutal when you get into that ice mode thing.
Because you basically have no brakes then, right?
Yeah, you get on the brake pedal, it's like a brick. So I yarded all that stuff out and I put BMW MK60 ABS in this car.
Shot with, do you know Greg Thurman?
Yeah.
Yeah. We shot with Greg Thurman in his orange C2.
Okay.
Where he just laid on the brake. I mean, I instantly grabbed these and tightened myself down. So you're stopping like that or even faster, I gotta imagine.
Yeah.
Because that means you can just lay on the brake and the ABS does the work, right?
Yep. As hard as you want. So, you noticed my tach, you didn't notice my speedometer.
That's the one that says, I don't care. See? Well, it's great, right? That's your excuse if you get pulled over. Sure, I had no idea how fast I was going.
That's always the first thing they ask when they come up to the door. Sir, do you have any idea how fast you were going?
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
My speedo doesn't work.
Yeah. The winner's rear end doesn't have a port to pick up for the vehicle speed sensor like the factory stuff did.
Got it. Wow. Sounds like a shotgun, man. Holy cow, dude. Holy shit. I cannot believe. Oh my God, dude. I cannot believe. I'm freaking out looking, going, are you going to hit the brakes sometime soon?
Fucking no-lift shift is really pissing me off.
Yeah.
I was able to grab one gear,
Yeah.
and then it just sits on the rev limiter.
Yeah,
and
I
shift
get
the
it.
fucker
I
around.
get it. Dude, you're coming in so fast, it looks like we can't stop. makes no sense what this car does, you guys. That makes no sense to me at all. I'm just being honest, dude. Oh, of course, we gotta go this way too. Pissing you off. Yeah. Fucking like driving you crazy. I get it, dude. Well, that was freaking awesome. I gotta tell you, man. Holy shit. Where you start braking, I'm sure we're gonna go like at least another block before we even come close to stopping.
It's wicked. So the first time when I put the BMW brakes on, it took me forever to get used to it because the ice mode stuff gets so sketchy. When you're really braking, you toe tap and check the brake pedal.
Yeah.
Because I left foot brake. So I'm just toe tapping.
Oh, you're left foot brake.
Oh yeah. So just to make sure it's almost like a security blanket. And then you lay into the brake good when you want to stop. Well, first event I did, I started doing that and I told myself, what are you doing? You're just wasting time. And then I just started pounding on the brake and I'm like stopping, 40 feet sooner than I usually would.
I mean, dude, like I'm telling, my mind cannot wrap itself around how late you're braking and this car is already coming to a friggin' stop. Yeah, I mean, especially coming into this where I'm looking at a friggin' truck in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we're about to die.
Yeah.
We're definitely about to die. So glad I brought extra underwear. Well, man, you guys hear me freak out enough about cars because I'm usually very excited after I get out of one. That was one of those, no kidding, holy shit kind of rides, from the acceleration, the handling. I mean, obviously we don't get to do much, but you can get a sense of what it does. But beyond anything, the braking on that thing just blew my mind. I mean, I literally thought going into that cul-de-sac, we're in trouble because he's not touching his brakes yet. Obviously, he knows his car very well. He built it, he races it competitively, wins. Just, as you can probably tell, yes, I'm completely jacked up right now. I just had an amazing time riding with Duke, man. So, hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, a big thanks for hanging and watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. All right, man, later.